Hello and welcome to the I Love You Bet podcast. I'm Heather and this is my sister,
Rian. Each week we will revisit relics of our childhoods using our multiple master's degrees
to critically evaluate the crap that consumed our misspent youth. So join us,
sisters, latchkey kids, cuspers, and lazy feminists as we look back at our past to say, I love you, but...
How'd you waste time this week, Ryan Davis?
I was actually pretty busy this week until this weekend, and then I haven't gotten a lot done because I've had my child. I always forget to come up with an answer for this question.
It's really okay. I've watched a lot of television because my back has been broken.
Yeah.
And I don't want to write anything. I mean, I want to write, but I don't want to write. So I ended up watching the last season of Sex Education because I had never watched that.
Yeah.
And I watched the last season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel because I had never watched that.
Shit.
I was a little bit behind.
A little bit.
And then I watched the first season, I think, of The Tourist on Netflix, and I sent you a trigger warning on it. Content warning.
Yeah. I did watch, I think, most of one day. But then I was like watching the last episode I was watching, and it seemed very like someone was gonna die.
Oh.
Like there was a lot of like the timing and the back and forth, and they're texting and it's raining and they're on their bikes and it's like they finally have gotten together, and I'm like, I cannot handle it if one of these fuckers dies.
I think somebody might die because they do say it's the ugly cry on your own show. So
okay, well, so I turned it off, like I was grading or doing some work, and I was like, somebody's about to die, and I cannot. Because, like, I think the night before I had ugly cried because a coworker's dad died. So, of course, like, kind of process some of my feelings about our dad dying. So I was just like, no. So I have not gone back. So that might just be a show that I never finish. So, and I'm okay with that. I was in a book club, and someone was talking about how they force themselves to finish books, even if they don't enjoy them. And I was like, no. Like, it was very liberating when I finally was like, why am I wasting my time reading? Like, I'm not enjoying this.
Nope.
That's like, now they want us all to do like the entire series of that Crown of Thorn and Roses or whatever it is.
Why do you have to do the entire series? Have you read one? Haven't you read them all?
Well,
I'm sure they're very enjoyable. I haven't read them. I don't mean to shit on you, but like,
I'm gonna shit on it because everyone's like, the first one's really hard to get through, and I'm like, then I'm not gonna read anymore. I don't care how good, especially because the first one is like fucking Harry Potter thickness, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get through it. I don't care how good the others are. Like,
yeah.
So I will be sitting that one out. I don't think I'm going to book club anymore.
You in this book club. Like me trying to date somebody.
I'll just read my own books.
Well, The Tourist brought up a lot of feelings, I will say.
Yeah.
So there was a part toward the beginning where she and her fiance are going to like not Weight Watchers, and she kind of gives this monologue about how she knows that at this point it's okay to be bigger and she should feel good about that, but she doesn't feel good about that. And then she feels bad about not feeling good about that and still wanting to lose weight and all this kind of stuff. And he is a controlling little needy piece of shit. Like, I cannot stand him for the whole series. Like, he still puts the club on his car, which was also a triggering thing. But
I saw that. I swear to God, I saw that. Like, I think when Ellie and I were traveling down for Christmas, the first stop we made, we pulled next to a car and they had the club. And I was like, still has one of those.
Nobody's going to steal your car. They'll just steal.
And then I know. And Elliot was like, what? And I was like, I can't even begin to explain this to you.
I want someone to make a little tiny club to put on catalytic converters because that's what people are actually stealing now. So, little tiny club for your catalytic.
Do you even know what a catalytic converter looks like?
Do I know? No, but I bet I can Google it. toward the end, she leaves her fiance, spoiler, and he
I
tells
like how you say spoiler afterwards. It's not how spoiler works.
You want it to happen the entire time. So
that's not how that phrase works.
It finally happens. You're like,
okay.
Yes, I'm so glad this actually happened. But then he tells her that no one else will love her. And it's just one of those sad little man things that they do that's more effective if you aren't spend your if you weren't blessed with genetics and don't spend the entirety of your life trying to fit into a certain mold of physicality. It is very easy for a man to say that to you and for you to believe it in that moment. And so that was really, really hard to watch. I cried a lot during that show. So anyway.
Sorry, pal. I tried watching the second 50 Shades of Grey, and I was like, this is awful. And then I stopped.
No. Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
It's so.
You should watch Twilight instead. Significantly more enjoyable.
Like, even the like Cookie Monster parody of Twilight, and I'm like, oh god, so bad. Not even deserve to be parody. Been watching a lot of Curious George lately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Elliot's new obsession. So I spent about a few hours rearranging my classroom and cleaning it and moved all the furniture around, and all my students are really mad. That made me happy.
Oh yeah, you were gonna put up a sign that said if you put gum anywhere but the trash can, I'm gonna murder you, right?
Or just like no, you're an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you put gum anywhere other than your mouth or the trash can, then you're a terrible human being, and I hate you.
Oh, I started watching School Spirits last night on Netflix, and it was kind of interesting / cute.
Yeah, I like watched some of that, and then some of my students were talking about it, and I figured you said they told me what happened, so I don't know. I'll go back and finish it. But spoiler, I won't tell you.
Thanks for doing spoiler the right way.
Except I didn't, because I'm not going to tell you. It's the wrong kind of spoiler.
What do you remember about Uncle Buck from 1989?
I remember John Candy. I remember his hat and his scarf and cigars, giant pancakes, a teenage brat, bowling alley, scaring the little punk, FBI toothbrush warning, like I'll send it to the FBI, uptight mom, and the backfiring car.
I remembered Big Pancake, John Candy, and Macaulay Culkin, ? And Dad, ? Like, did he remind us of Dad? Which in the end, really only in like 2 ways did he remind me of Dad, so.
Yeah.
If it could have been John Goodman, it would have been Dad, but.
When he like vacuumed the crumbs off himself, I was like, oh, that's such a dad move. And then I was like, is it? I think Dad would just stand up.
Yep.
Like, I think he'd even be too lazy to grab the vacuum right next to him and vacuum the crumbs off of himself. I have to say,
or he would have been like, "Hey, Puppy, come here, eat all these crumbs." The dog was right there.
Yeah, the dog was right there. That was a weird dog. Elliot was like, "What's the dog's name?" It's like, I don't know. I don't think it has a name. It's the dog.
It was a pointless dog
that hangs out in the dryer. I don't know.
Yeah. Nope.
This movie was kind of boring.
It was super boring.
It was really boring.
Yep.
The jokes are really trite.
Mm-hmm.
Macaulay Culkin was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But,
our girl needed to calm down.
I was like, why are you so mad?
Like, she needed to calm down. And
then they like alluded to something happening in Indianapolis, and you never find out what it is.
They moved.
No, but like they alluded that something happened, and that's what caused them to move.
Mm-hmm.
No, like the parents did. They were like,
she said they weren't making enough money, so they moved.
No, that's what the girl said, but then the parents said something else that like made it sound like there was another reason.
I don't know, but it made me feel a whole
yeah, the dad said it's not because of what happened.
Oh.
was like right after the heart attack. Like the grandpa had the heart attack, and then she's like, "Why we moved?" And the dad was like, "It's not because of
No,
what
no,
happened."
he was saying he didn't have a heart attack because we moved away. He
Oh,
was trying to comfort her.
oh, and I was trying to make this movie have more happening. Okay.
No, there's nothing happening on this movie.
Cheese
Um,
balls and easy cheese.
there's a teenager who's so emo. There was a John Hughes house. That was immediately. You wouldn't have even had to put John Hughes' name on it. As soon as I saw one of those white houses, I was like, oh, this is
Oh my
John Hughes
god.
movie.
I did like how John, he was like, every house on this street's a big white house.
Yeah, because this is a John Hughes movie.
And Chicago.
I very much wanted to say to the redhead, just dump him. Like the whole conversation.
Oh my god, 8 years.
8 years.
8 years, girl.
Yeah. Mm-mm. And then I just had a whole bunch of comments on set design. So, like, did you notice the yummy pile of brown bananas?
Was that pre Uncle Buck coming or post Uncle Buck coming?
It was before he came. It was like one of the first things you saw.
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
Then,
should we give a brief synopsis of this movie before we keep going?
Oh, sure. Go ahead, babe.
If anyone's never seen Uncle Buck, which apparently there was a remake. Did you see that when you were searching? There was a remake with an entirely black cast.
Oh, okay. That's probably a lot funnier.
A family of 5 recently moved to the Chicago suburbs. Mom and dad have suddenly called away and need someone to watch their 3 children. One very surly teenager and 2 lovable small children who appear to be basically the same age. Because it's last minute, they can't find anyone, so they call the dad's brother, Uncle Buck, who apparently is a man-child with no responsibility. So despite concerns, he comes in and he watches the kids and nothing bad happens, and he actually manages to get the surly teenager to pull the stick out of her ass.
Yay!
Yeah. The end.
The end. That poor mother's terrible hair.
Oh my god, her hair was so bad. Like, oh my god.
Yep.
I definitely made a note about her hair.
Then I was confused about why they had a computer in their bathroom. And if it wasn't a computer in their bathroom, what room was just off of their bedroom that you could see into that wouldn't be a bathroom? I was really confused about that.
I missed that detail. Just to be fair, I was watching this with Elliot, and he did not want to be watching it. I also wrote half my notes in marker because he stole my pen halfway through and wouldn't give it back. So there's probably some details you picked up on that I might have missed. These high schoolers are so cool, and they also look like they're ready to like protest the Berlin Wall. Like,
yeah, they really did. They didn't look like they were suburban teenagers at all.
Like, we just walked straight out of a Cure album.
Just thinking too, like if you lived up there, how much of your wardrobe would just be outerwear? Like you'd have to be thinking about like, I just need like one really good coat.
Well, they did have a lot of really good coats.
I thought that if you had a kitchen island with pots and pans hanging over it, you were the coolest of the cool. So I was very impressed by that.
I did laugh pretty hard at the end when that fell down. That was one time when I didn't see that one coming.
I did do 3 in a row of, oh no, it's the 80s, which was aerobics, indoor ashtray, communism. Speaking of things falling, was John Candy falling off the bed funny enough to repeat it 3 times?
No, in the same way.
Yeah, as if it were an explosion. Like, that's what you do with an explosion, because you got to get the literal bang out of your buck. Like, Uncle Buck had no bang. There was no reason to repeat that fall 3 times. Like, none.
Although I think they did kind of pay homage to it on Bluey, or there was just like a very parallel, because there's an episode where Dad ends up on the floor and then Bluey ends up on the floor with Dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
But did they show Dad falling 3 times?
No, I don't think they showed Dad falling 3 times.
Hey, Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah, no, right? Like, who's also wanting all up on John Candy's dick. Like,
I think she was just a bored housewife. I mean, she did say she was going for the FedEx guy or whatever.
the Federal Express delivery man.
Do you know that whenever I get called to emergency care for other people's children for a couple of days, I pack my custom bowling ball?
I think he meant to pack that. My question was, who stores a bowling ball on the very top shelf of a closet?
No, well, remember they go bowling and his ball.
Oh, he has his custom. He also had his golf clubs. Because when he
Yeah,
was talking about it, he's like, all I want to do is this, and all I want to do is that. It's like, all I want to do is do anything I want, whenever I want, for the rest of my life. Like, Jesus Christ.
I also thought he really occupies some complex gray areas of morality. He was like very much against this little teenage scumbag, but then
Bug.
also like, I don't like to do any work, and also I'm gonna like cheat and bet on horses and shit. Like,
Yeah. I did like when he stood up to the fucking assistant principal.
yeah, that was pretty cute. But you
Yeah,
know,
that was.
Dudley Moore was considered for this part. A bunch of people were considered, Tom Cruise including. But Dudley Moore
For the John Candy role or the assistant principal?
the John Candy role. Assistant principal was. But I did like. I could imagine Dudley Moore doing that scene where he's talking about the wart.
Yes.
Like,
oh
yes. It was very, very
Dudley. Much better. It would have just been like watching Arthur, though.
Yeah, it would have been exactly.
Melatonin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except that teenager would have towered over him and he would have been like staring up at her. Get in the car.
Here's a quarter, go downtown and have a rat and gnaw that thing off your face.
I wondered if we shouldn't talk about maybe some adventures in babysitting we've had, since we didn't actually talk about that when we talked about that movie, Adventures in Babysitting. And I think what we can call what he's doing safely babysitting. I wouldn't call it raising children.
I mean, we talked about that one babysitter that we had. I definitely got locked out of the house by kids once when I was babysitting them. When I took care of those kids that summer a few years back, when I was also trying to avoid any kind of life responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they locked me out of the house once.
I got locked out of the house once, and then I sat there and I pretended to cry.
I remember that.
And they let me in and I locked them out. So big none of it.
I remember I ruined a really nice pair of pants I liked a lot, crawling around on the dirt trying to sneak around. Fuckers. Those kids are assholes. They were. They didn't like me. All kids like me. Like, obviously there was something wrong with them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm trying to think if I have any other good babysitting stories.
I only ever babysat like little kids.
Long.
I never babysat kids for like an extended period of time either.
I mean, I remember being like 13 or 14 and being in charge of infants, which is a little bit of a terrifying thought.
I mean, infants are kind of easy.
Until they're not.
There's only so much trouble an infant can get into, like, honestly.
Uh-huh. Like death trouble. To me, babies are like nothing or the worst thing, because, you know, like that's where you don't want a 14-year-old watching them, because it's like, oh God, this child's gonna die and I don't know what to do. Like
when I had Jacob come in and hang out with Elliot for a couple hours last summer, he's like, what do I do with him? I was like, he's 4, you just play with him. Like, he's not gonna die. Yes, he's made it this far in life. Like, he's not gonna die in the 2 hours. Like, he's gonna show you every single toy he owns, and then I'll be home. Yeah,
then I made a note, and I kind of talked about this, but I don't want to be like this. But that Tia, see you next time, really needed to get over herself. Like, she was.
Oh yeah, like what are you so mad about? Like, guess what? Jennifer Grey did it way better. Like,
Jennifer Grey. Oh, yes. Okay. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes, and
I was
Ferris Bueller's
thinking,
Day
like,
Off. Yeah, no, like she was trying real hardcore to be Jennifer Grey in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and she was not succeeding.
no, it was like, I don't care what happened to you. Whatever it is, it's not worth this. I promise you.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
Bug
just...
was aptly named. CBK. Such a nuisance. And
I think
then
he
I
was
was
aptly dealt with.
really confused about the number of reaction shots when Buck drilled the door open. It was like reaction, 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 react, like too many and not funny.
Maybe the timing on this was wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean
know.
most of comedy is timing, so that's definitely there were not enough jokes at all.
There was not enough jokes, and they were not very funny.
And then I got mad because Bug apologized like Elliot, where he
yeah,
screamed, "I'm sorry," and then they tried to run him over, and that part was kind of funny. And then I didn't like that when Buck got home. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was when the parents came back. I don't know, but I have two last notes, and one of them is freeze frame because that's how they ended it, was with a freeze frame of John Candy laughing, and that was very 80s. And before that, I just said Tia standing there like a Japanese ghost. She was just kind of like standing in the entryway, not talking, no emotion, just like standing there, being real creepy. Like, what is wrong with you, girl? You're terrifying. I don't enjoy it.
I don't know.
So really, this movie was about an uncle and his niece's relationship with each other.
Yeah, it's very strange.
With some other things thrown in. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah, like an uncle being the one to be like, "You're a fucking bitch," and get over it.
Right.
And somehow that then made him grow up and somehow become prepared to have his own family.
It made me feel like maybe somebody would greenlight if I wanted to do a series like about me and my uncle.
Oh my god. Oh, at one point, so like when the scene, so when Buck gets home and homegirl's gone and she's like, "See y'all Sunday, bitches." And he's like, "I gotta go to the," and he's like thinking about how he has to go and to the bet on the ponies and what is he gonna do, and he thinks he's gonna take the kids, and then he's in the car and he like starts to like have feelings. Elliot goes, "What's he feeling?"
Wow.
And I was like, he's feeling caring and responsibility for other people.
Jiminy Cricket just shot up and sang on his shoulder.
Yeah, it's called his conscience.
Oh, the conscience, kid.
I was trying to remember. I was like, why did you write that down? Yeah, it's like, what's he feeling? And then Ellie goes, "This is a grown-up movie, isn't it?" Yeah.
Is it?
That's his nice way of going boring.
I know. Did he? But and I think even he doesn't like pancakes, so even the pancakes wouldn't have been good for him.
But it actually was like a super short scene. Like I remember it being like such a big deal, and it was like, but oh, like it's done. And then the clown, like I forgot about the clown, which,
yeah,
I don't know. Also, who wants to lose it to the song "Bust a Move"? No one. No one ever.
All those goths who were mad about the Berlin Wall.
So many hats. They were so cool. They were way too cool.
It was Carrie Coker and Aaron, what's his name, all over the place, just being cool.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't even know. I did like it when they started calling him UB instead of Uncle Buck.
Yeah,
that was kind of fun. Good. Tell UB he lost. Yeah, this movie was not good. Nope. It wasn't really even bad. It was just like, blah. Do we want to talk about what used to happen when Mom would go out of town and leave Dad in charge of us? Because that's kind of similar to this situation. So, like, one time a year when she would go on a work trip or something.
I think we already talked about that.
Oh, have we?
Yeah. So this was an episode about a movie that had a birthday in it. And
Yes, for half a second.
Next week, we're going to watch another 80s movie that has a very brief mention of her birthday in it, all leading up
Shortest episode ever.
Whatever. whatever. This movie was not good. There's nothing we can do.
This movie was not good, but we can't even find anything else to talk about.
What else do you want to talk? Do you want to keep talking how bad it was? I don't.
Let's talk about adulting.
Why?
Why is that a thing?
Because everybody is miserable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like you have this person who doesn't want responsibility in life, and then it's like now we're in this culture where we're like, yay, I paid bills, I'm adulting, I deserve praise. Like,
I mean, do you really want to go
cut all
into
this out? Next week we're talking about what?
I mean, today I literally was at our uncle's house trying to figure out how to get all of his tax shit together so that I could get his taxes filed. And he's like, well, don't they pay you for that? I was like, who? Who? Like,
yeah, okay, you deserve trophies and awards. Like, I'm talking about when I like go get my oil changed and I feel like the most responsible human being in the entire world. Like,
yeah. ADHD is not kind in this version of the life that we're living. I think it was a lot easier to manage before everybody had so many different things that they had to manage on their own. So that's all I can say to you. Anyway, we are leading up to the 1-year anniversary of the show. Huzzah! So we've got The Karate Kid coming up and Hairspray, and then we're going to have a St. Patty's Day episode where we rewatch The Quiet Man, a formative film for my entire being. And then we're going to do a wonderful series called They Let You Watch This, which will include A Fish Called Wanda, Blazing Saddles, Amadeus, Airplane, The World According to Garp, and The Breakfast Club. And yes,
they let us watch all that.
They not only let us, they made us watch some of those movies.
Like me making Elliot watch Uncle Buck.
No, not really.
I'm like, hopefully he doesn't start talking about dogs sniffing his balls.
I just know that when The Breakfast Club came out, Mom and Dad were like, you're gonna have to watch this movie. Like, it was like literally like it was curriculum. Like, you have to watch this movie. No, not
I love it. And they used to like, didn't they used to show it in their like confirmation classes?
Yeah.
Then watch it. Like, this is a great movie about like inclusion and acceptance. Like, everyone in this movie's white,
right?
Yeah. You with your inclusion and acceptance. Like,
oh no, that movie is yeah, it's got some complications to it for sure. So yeah. And you can be included and accepted as long as you change the way that you look and the way that you behave. So that
are and do and yeah. Like, oh, sometimes you just need to know how someone's life is. You never know.
But people love it so much.
I'm just really glad Poltergeist wasn't on that list of they let you watch this.
I really wanted to put it on there, but you're welcome. I decided against it.
Especially after I made you watch True Beverly Hills, which turned out to not be that bad.
That was far and above better than this. Hey, thanks. That's it. That's it. This episode of I Love You But. We've had a couple of long episodes, so this is a short one. You're welcome. Join us next week. We're going to talk about The Karate Kid, which hopefully is way better than this. We'll see. What made you laugh? What made you cringe? What did we forget? What should we talk about in future episodes? We still want to know your thoughts. We do, I promise. Find us on Instagram or Threads at I Love You But Pod, or email us at iloveyoubutpod@gmail.com. Listener email and comments may turn up in future episodes. Be sure to rate, review, and follow I Love You But wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. I'm Heather.
I'm Ryan, and we wish you lots and lots of conditional love.